like that.
Oh, Monster Mash.
Like you're surprised, Kristen?
Yes. Who doesn't love a good Monster Mash?
I don't care where you're at in the world. Any time of the year you hear that, you know it's the Monster Mash.
Began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise, he did the Monster Mash. It was a graveyard smash.
I like that, Dave. It is that time of the year. It is
good.
that time of the year. It's fall season. It's wetter weather, right? If you will. And Halloween just around the corner. So I'm really excited.
Right.
It really is.
All came from their humble abode to get
I guess we better get this show on the road.
my electrode.
Hey, we want to welcome everybody.
They did the
Want to welcome everybody to episode 3. Can you believe that, Brian? Episode 3 of Choice Chats.
The trifecta, Joe.
The trifecta, if you will.
Trifecta.
Indeed, my friend. And you know, this was born, 3 episodes ago, and it was an opportunity for us, friends, to get together here, colleagues, if you will, and just talk all things life, whatever's on your mind, whatever's on your heart, whatever's going on in the industry. That's what today is for, and that's what the past segments have been all about. And I know it will continue. That theme, anyways, will continue today as well. But this show doesn't happen just by myself, y'all. My name is Joseph Hernandez, Senior Director of Account Management and Retention here at Choice Administrators. Can't do this by myself. I have actually 3 of my dearest friends and colleagues, Mr. Bryan Coppin to my top left, Miss Kristen Berthiaume down here on my bottom left, and right below me, one of my dearest friends, best friends, Dave McClintock. How you doing, Dave?
I'm doing great. Never better. Like you mentioned, the weather's changing too. I don't know if everyone's picking up on that. And it's been unique for us here in Southern California, but a little cloudy today, which is nice. It's certainly a welcome change. And beyond that, it's going to be an El Nino winter, they say, Joe. So it'll be interesting as we go to report on that later today. But life's happening, though, isn't it? Kids are back to school. I mean, kids need to be in school. That's a good thing. Bryan, I know you're busy with the 2 down there. Are the kids still are they in school, or have they officially joined the rodeo? What's going on there in Sacramento?
Yeah, not quite. They're back in school. We're doing soccer, so a little different from the mutton busting this year. A little more low key, but we'll see. Those kids are animals out on the soccer field too. But it's been good.
That's good to hear. And Joseph, I know you've already sent the kids to school already, right? Back to school night. You've done all those things. Probably volunteered at the school. Done all those requirements that you love doing, sir.
No, I certainly have. Volunteering for me is really key. I have a new family. I have what's called a blended family for those that aren't familiar with that. So I'm starting all over again. So we're taking kids to, school and different activities. We have dance, and yes, there is volunteer night. Yours truly has volunteered himself on the PTA. So really excited about that. But it is a lot of work. It is a lot of work, let me tell you.
He really is the best PTA parent there, I'm sure. Kristen, speaking of blending, I'm sure there's a lot of things blending. At least the foliage there is starting to appear in Northern California, right? Or
I don't know. I
North
would know
Carolina.
Northern California. I'm in North Carolina, but
I apologize. Wrong NC.
we forgive you. But I think we might say something to the effect of "It's fall, y'all." It is fall, y'all, in North Carolina officially.
It is. It certainly is. My son's back in school. He's doing tackle football. He's also doing flag football for the school. So every weekend it's something, right? And usually long days. And it reminds me that life is a highway, and as we get into this Q4 season, as things pick up, as the seasonality of our business changes, I've argued, I don't know if anyone believes me or not, but I've argued that we're always in Q4. It's just kind of Q4 light and then the official Q4, but we're officially here. I want to share with you a story from the road. I've been doing a lot of research because I tend to do these things. I don't know if it's, maybe I got to find a new hobby, Joe. I don't know what it is, but I tend to watch the financial reports and the financial happenings of what's taking place. And there's a lot of things that are happening. And I'll take this portion maybe a little more serious. Normally we don't go this deep on some of the topics, but I thought it was important for context as the feds came out yesterday. They had they basically have a presentation with relation to inflation, interest rates, things of that nature. And some of the quotes coming out of that are, the labor market is rebalancing. What does that mean? You can read into that, what you'd like, but there's other pressures that are happening. I want to share with you guys some of those things. So starting October 1st, student loan repayments begin again. So a lot of those were in forbearance. They were not being paid in a post-COVID environment. There was some relief funds. And so the discretionary income that some of these individuals have had is going to probably go away starting October 1st as they begin to resume some of those student loan repayments. In fact, we're starting to see it today. The economic numbers say that we talk about inflation and core inflation a lot, but really there's some deflation happening too. And the deflation is actually happening in discretionary spending. What does that mean exactly? What the economic data tells us is for core items that people use, right? So housing, food, shelter, as they call it, health benefits, things of that nature. Those things are still trekking on a kind of upward mobility. But on the discretionary side, so some of the extra things that people would normally be doing, taking vacations, trips to Disney, things like that, those are down. As Kristen likes to put it, that Taylor Swift basically kept the economy running midpoint 2023. Thank you to all the Swifties out there. But it is something to obviously pay attention to. And this is where the story comes in. I was with a broker not too long ago, and we had a chance to meet with a client. And during that client presentation, we obviously tout here at Choice, and, the largest network of plans, the most network availability, the most price points that are available in the marketplace today. And those aren't just statements, they really are true. And as we're going through and we're listening to, the end user and what they're experiencing, a lot of what I shared with you today is what they're experiencing within their own employee population as well. And how do they tackle cost? And, over the years, I think we have careful ways in which we articulate it. We get better at these things sometimes. Sometimes we employ technology. We talk about the value props and networks and all these different things. And it was kind of funny because as we go through it, the broker stops, pulls out a rate sheet, a Cal Choice rate sheet. Those of you guys have seen them, they're done really well. It's just an employee worksheet. And he goes, this is a plan that you have pretty close to today. There are 31 plans in this program that are cheaper than what you offer. We got the group. And so it's interesting. I remind the audience, life is a highway, because as we employ technology, we're doing a podcast right today, which normally unheard of a couple of years ago, but that's sort of the normal today. But sometimes you got to go old school, and sometimes you got to bring it back to basics, even on that highway. And so just a really cool story. More importantly, not so much that the business was won, but really the ability to help out a small employer in the space that we serve today is super cool. And I just want to share that with the audience because, again, I think there's a lot of stories that are like that similarly happening, but that was one that just I was, there for, I was present for, and had a chance to experience. And I thought it was really, really cool.
Kind of a feel-good moment, isn't it?
It really is.
It's just that easy. It's just that simple.
It is. So, Kristen, on that front, I would argue that, for a group like that, it comes down to, I talked about discretionary income and things like that, and that having some downward pressure. But on the flip side of that, there are things that you can't do without. And in fact, sometimes I would argue that there's probably products you can't live without. What'd you say?
I am certain that there are products that you can't live without. And I'm willing to bet that everyone on this call might be in a place where they would share with the audience the products that they can't live without. Now, I haven't heard from Bryan Coppin, but I know Bryan Coppin is going to enlighten me. And I'm going to be leaving this podcast today to purchase whatever product it is that Bryan can't live without. Bryan, would you please? What is?
That's quite the bold statement
here. Wow.
I'm confident because Bryan, don't let me down. What is the product you can't live without?
No, I'll go easy on you. I was going to start with my trusty Peloton out in the
I can live without that. Let's try the other one.
Can't live without that. But
Don't sign me up.
yeah, I'll go a little easier
Don't
on
sign
you.
me up for cardio.
Appreciate it.
So as we were prepping for this and I was getting ready for my day, I realized there is something that I cannot live without, and it
Uh-oh.
is my faithful sriracha. And for those that you don't know, I'm a little late to the game. I didn't know this was a cultural phenomenon out there where there was some controversy where
Mhm.
some peppers weren't being provided. We had to
Uh-huh.
stop. I just thought going into the grocery store, everyone's getting on board. They're cleaning the shelves
No,
out,
there was a
right?
shortage,
So
Brian. There was a
Brian, if we're
shortage.
not making sriracha with free range peppers, I don't want them.
I'll have you know, Brian, sriracha is actually made here in SoCal, not too far from me. Maybe
that's
about
right.
20
I'm
miles away,
learning.
20, 30
I'm
miles away.
learning.
That's
Yeah.
right.
You know what is fascinating too, and thank you for sharing that, Coppin. I am a big sriracha fan too.
As am I, as am I.
Yeah, it's so good, right? It goes on everything too. That's a great thing. Pizza, name
Yeah.
it. Like you could just put it on everything, and I do. There were people that were actually reselling that online.
Oh, it was getting, I
It's
didn't
crazy.
show my story, right?
Yes.
As my bottle is dwindling and the shelves are empty, I'm scouring the dark web and back alleys to get my sriracha. I needed that.
Yes.
Hey, Brian, I know a guy.
It was
We'll
like
talk
that.
after.
Yeah. Call
God,
me.
Well, fortunately, we've survived the sriracha shortage. Now that is a product I can get behind. I can definitely pick up a bottle of sriracha.
I got a little guilty pleasure too, I guess, if you will, something that I
Right.
can't live without. And I've traveled with all of you. You know, we travel and we have a great time. And there's always that nice dinner that we have. And Dave, we went out recently. We had a real nice steak. And Dave knows this. I've known Dave for
oh God.
40 plus years, it seems like. And he knows that whenever I go out to eat and I gotta have a steak, I always gotta have my Coke with me. And I
Classic.
probably drink about 2 or 3 of these a day. That's my guilty pleasure. And I know it's so bad, but it's so good. I
That's
mean,
so
just
good.
being able to just crack this open, that sound. You can hear that sound on the other side of the room, and a Coke is being cracked open.
Joe, I think I just got a boost of serotonin just from hearing that sound virtually. I did. It does feel good.
Chris, the best
It
part
tastes good
is,
too, let me tell you.
yeah, at the finest restaurants, no less, too, right?
Yeah.
Would you like
Yeah.
red wine? Would you like white wine? No, I'll have the Coca-Cola, please. It's
Mhm.
really fun to watch.
Yeah.
The interesting fun fact too is I always ask Joseph when those opportunities do arise. I get a straw and I go, just let me have the first sip. I just need to taste it.
He does. He does.
Every
That's
time.
how close we are, guys.
Yeah, every
That's how
time.
close we
Just
are.
let me have a sip, little sip. That will do you
Little
these
sip.
times.
That will do.
I can't live without it. I just can't. I need to. I should, but I can't.
For sure.
McClintock, I think it's your turn to share. What is the product that you cannot live without?
Well, listen, I don't feel guilty about it, and I don't feel ashamed about it. And I, too, like Brian, would find this product hard to replace. Now, for those of you who have something similar to this, which is the iRobot
wow.
vacuum or any vacuum that's tech related, I got to tell you, this thing has been a lifesaver. I have it set for a timer at 3 o'clock every day in the afternoon. Which never really works out because typically it interrupts a meeting that I'm on, or it takes up a sock, or it swallows a document that it wasn't supposed to swallow. But it cleans around the baseboards, and that for me is worth all the rigmarole that comes with it. That is my guilty pleasure. And I tell you, I try to give these things and tell everyone, you got to do this, you got to have this. It's so good. Now, Kristen, I think you can have some relation to that too. Aren't they great? They run into
They're
everything.
fantastic.
They just keep running, like you think they're cleaning, but they're just banging against the walls and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Sometimes just fun to watch
Have you ever
That's a
had
really
one go off during a call day?
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the time.
That's a little frustrating.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But you know what though?
I'll be right back.
Yeah,
Turn that thing off.
exactly. But you know what though? I consider that the new age of multitasking, Joe.
It really
Doing two
is.
things at once, right? Well, Kristen, we've all shared, and I know that you
Yes.
probably have one of many products. Now,
Me
this
too.
is a family program, I want to remind you. So I don't know
Yes.
what you planned on sharing today. Hopefully not as controversial as the
No.
sriracha or the
No,
Coca-Cola.
certainly not. Certainly not. No, you know what? This product that I cannot live without. Interestingly enough, all of us on this call today use this product. Now, if you're watching, this is where you're going to start to roll your eyes. This is going to feel very self-serving, and it is, but that doesn't mean that it's not true, because the product that I cannot live without, hear me out, is California Choice. as an exchange. Okay, but hold on. We're going to give you a story. Like,
Okay.
let's go back, as I like to say, into the time machine a little bit. And let's talk about California Choice as a product. Let's do that.
Okay.
So you guys might remember back in 2021, we were celebrating as a program our 25th anniversary. You guys remember that, right?
Yeah, I do.
Now, everyone who's listening in has not seen this video footage, but us employees internally had the opportunity to watch our co-founders, John Word and Rusty Brown, reflect at 25 years on California Choice as a program. And that footage was fantastic for a number of reasons. But what I personally enjoyed most about it was the storytelling component, where John and Rusty were able to go back and answer the question, where did the idea of California Choice come from? So how was this program born? Take us back to that moment where you had realized there was an opportunity to better serve Californians. And so I want to take you down this path for a minute. So, John had the opportunity to answer this question, and he said, there was a time where I was a retail broker and I was serving employers in California. And at the time, you guys might remember working in this industry prior to AB 1672. Remember what that was like with medical underwriting?
Oh yeah.
It was brutal. I remember it almost felt like when employers were applying for coverage and there was medical underwriting, you couldn't even admit that you were taking Tylenol for a headache because you'd be rated up. Remember that? I'm being a little sarcastic, but that was how it felt.
Yeah.
That was how it felt. There was no guaranteed issue for employers. There was no limitations in terms of cost. You could see renewals coming in at 50, 60, 70, 80%, depending on experience. So take yourself back to John representing employers and going through that process of having to support your small businesses, and every year on renewal or at new business, having to fight those increases, having to be able to kind of dance in the marketplace to better serve your customer. What a frustrating process for a broker, but also for those employer groups and the members ultimately that are trying to consume care and take care of themselves and their families. So all of this is to say, he's supporting these employers. He's going through business pre-AB 1672. And one of his clients asks him a question that really sparked the creative for California Choice. And it's so great. The question is really, John, why can't I just give my employees $100? Let them make the decision. Why are we making this decision every year? And we're having to move every year. And I'm just exhausted by this dance. And I feel like there's better that we could be doing for me as an employer and better for my employees. And John's answer was initially, unfortunately, this marketplace just doesn't allow for it. There are underwriting restrictions in place. Based on conditions, employees may not be eligible for coverage. There are no guidelines that can support multiple health plans on one platform. It doesn't exist. So the plan, that plot, if you will, kind of died. But hang with me. This is going to have a happy ending because we're still here and we're talking about choice. So we're going somewhere with this. So what ends up happening is, back in the time machine, HIPIC was born. HIPIC was the Health Insurance Plan of California. And that was a program similar to Choice, but it was run by the state.
Yeah.
And as John recalls, HIPIC was not really broker friendly. So their interest in supporting brokers was very limited. They did not see the value in insurance brokers being a part of the equation for employers purchasing coverage. And that was where we had to draw the line in the sand. And John said, as an insurance broker, I understand the value of the broker, and there's more that we can be doing. So he actually partnered with Rusty. They sought legal counsel, tried to understand how they could create what we used to call a co-op, a program like California Choice, in the marketplace and do better by Californians and do better by brokers. And so the story ends with probably, I would say, the highlight for me of this storytelling in this anniversary video is Rusty bringing up the occasion where he had partnered with David Duker because a bill had passed. And this bill, after the launch of Choice, we were already live in the market, but this bill had stated that only those who are not insurance brokers can start purchasing co-ops, can start creating exchanges, right? We were already live in the marketplace. So this bill had passed. So, you know, you see Rusty goes to Sacramento, and he participates in actually a state Senate insurance committee hearing. And the judge heard out the argument that you can't state that this can't be done. It's already been done and we're already serving Californians. And the judge actually ruled in their favor. And hence, Choice continues to be, since 1996, a product that, in fact, hundreds of thousands of Californians are using today. And again, I say it was the cheap plug, but it doesn't mean it's untrue. I would say for me, this is a product I can't live without. It has been life-changing to be able to be passionate about something that's meaningful for me, but also I know makes a difference in the lives of Californians. And so I would say, thanks for listening to the story and being able to recap in our 25th anniversary, the idea of how California Choice was born. What a fantastic story told by John and Rusty.
That is really cool. What's interesting too, Kristen, on that is if you kind of go back to what the origination of what we were doing this for, it's not different than it is today, right? It is to serve the people that we serve today. And when you do that in a selfless manner and you're doing it for the right reasons, more often than not, you're going to find success. And so it should be no surprise to the audience, to our partners who continue to support us, our broker partners, our general agent partners, the members and employer groups, that we're the most successful we've ever been some 25 years later. And it's really cool to be a part of this brand. It is definitely good to be part of this company. What we do today is so important, so critical, especially for some of the things that I had shared earlier with respect to what's happening in the marketplace today. But the company culture here at Choice is unlike any other in a positive fashion. It's what keeps us here. So we're the hardest working people in show business. Everyone knows that. And I couldn't do it without my colleagues, and certainly without the founders and everyone else who goes on to support this great brand to allow us to go to work every day for the people that we serve. Such a great story. Now, you know, Joseph, here's a reality. An operation like this doesn't run, it needs financials, right? It certainly does. And so
It really does.
a lot of times, you know, the commercial break, sometimes you just have to pay the bills.
Yeah, and bills do need to get paid. And let me tell you, bills do get paid. And sometimes it's hard to pay those bills, right? Everyone's looking for that discount so they can enjoy and not have to focus so much on the billing part and the payouts that go out. But going back to the guilty pleasures, as a family man here and many on this call today, we love having a great time. We love having a good time. We love going out on the weekends and splurging, if you will, right? But who doesn't like a discount, right? Who doesn't like
Oh, now that's my love language.
Well, yes,
That's my love language right there. Continue.
It really is. And in today's market, everyone is looking to save just a little bit of money. They're looking to save money on things that they love to do and the time that they love to spend. CalPerks, y'all. CalPerks is the way to go. CalPerks is a great way to provide your group or employees a tool to do just that. My little commercial here, from theme park tickets to renting a car, booking a hotel, travel, the list goes on and on and on. CalPerks has the discounts for you that are on this call today. If you'd like more information on CalPerks and what that means for you and for your clients, don't hesitate. Get a hold of one of your sales representatives today, inside, outside reps, your account managers, your renewal sales representatives, and they can provide you more information on CalPerks. Don't leave home without looking into
Wow.
and
Joe. Wait, Joe, is this a side gig for you? Are we filming Are we doing voiceovers on the side? That was
I have no idea.
the bills, y'all. Turn up the bills.
Exactly. You know, it's like Kristen, they go to hear, hurry, 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 get it here. The tickets are at a discount here. All right. Thank you for that, Joe. CalPerks, listen, all kidding aside, I've used it several times, especially on the theme.
I have to.
That's a win.
It is.
I used it, Dave. I can't tell you how many times I have. I've used it. I've been with the organization 16 years, and there is not a month that goes by that I don't look into some kind of a ticket, whether it's movie tickets, theme park tickets. They have travel now.
Yeah.
They have dry cleaning. They have oil changes. There's just a barrage and a list of items that you can choose from. And hey, Mr. Broker, you look like the hero at the end of the day because you can bring the products to your employers, and the employer looks like the hero offering those VIP loyalty benefits to each and every employee as well. So that's CalPerks, y'all.
I
Back
agree
to
with
you,
you,
Bryan, Dave.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. That was awesome. What a great ad read too, by Mr. Hernandez. No one does it better, really, right? You know, as we go through this and we talk about all the different things that we do talk about, one of the things that has been really interesting has been how we as a brand interact with the audience much differently than we did prior to COVID, right? And it's interesting too, because the numbers are beginning to spike again. We've seen some of those things, right? Prior to COVID, it wasn't uncommon. In fact, it was sort of the mandate for our field sales team to be out in the marketplace and obviously doing meetings with our broker partners in person. So not uncommon if you're in Woodland Hills. You know, there's a section in Woodland Hills. I call it Carrier Row. You know, because I remember the time it was like Health Net, Blue Shield, and Aetna.
Right on Canoga Avenue.
Right there.
Yes.
Yeah, right there on Canoga. They were all there. And shout out obviously to our partner HealthNet for being, I think, still there. But there was also a large segment of brokers in that area. And so I remember, I can harken back to my field days. I can spend a whole day in Woodland Hills and knock it out. You see the same kind of phenomenon in Irvine. You see Newport Beach, San Diego, Sacramento, San Jose for sure. They're just large pockets of, you know, where the territory kind of lives and where it resides. In a post-COVID environment, though, we have seen not only us as an organization move to a fully remote environment and shrinking our, you know, brick and mortar footprint, but that has been a common theme for a lot of brokers that we work with. And so more often than not, people are working from home. We have obviously more video conferencing than we've ever done before. We've seen that kind of grow in terms of popularity with our inside sales team, and the business continues to evolve. It's just kind of funny that way. So as we continue to integrate out in the marketplace from a field-based perspective, we've had to evolve that because Joe, you can't go to a broker's office and do a meeting when there's no brokers at the office.
Right. No, there's been, you hit it around the head. I mean, there's been tons of opportunity. I think everybody would agree on this call, and those that are watching, there's been tons of opportunity that has been birthed from the state that we were in for 2 to 3 years, right? Call it COVID, call it shift, call it whatever you want to call it. There have been many opportunities that have been birthed from that. Would you agree, Dave?
I would agree 100%, which leads me to, you know, the point of what our teams are doing in the marketplace today. So for those of you who follow us on social media, Joe, you know all the social media channels. What are they?
Well, we have TikTok, we have Instagram, we have YouTube. Go ahead and watch all the Choice Chats videos and other videos on YouTube. And I believe we may have even Facebook too.
You got Facebook.
We have LinkedIn. We have them all, guys. We have them all. At the end of the call, our marketing team will go ahead and list all of the different social media outlets for you to navigate through and take part in.
Thank you for doing that. So this is, again, one of the changes that we talk about. And if you know where I'm going with this, you've probably seen some of our interactions in the marketplace with some of our field-based team members. And the point was, yeah, it has been fun. The point I was making, though, is we've had to become a lot more creative in that space when we start interacting with our broker partners and anyone in general. So how do we make it so that an environment is safe, welcoming, engaging, and really fun? How do we get people out of their homes today, right? Yeah. And we have done a variety of different things, I promise you. I mean, golfing, axe throwing, sports events. I mean, there's been a lot of things that are happening. And some of our staff members have actually been really creative, some more creative than others, and some really creative. I wanted to take this moment, if we can. I wanted to watch a video of one of our sales staff members, right? This video comes to us from John Austin. He is a regional sales manager for the Orange County market. He has appropriately dubbed himself Johnny Austin.
Yeah.
And I thought it would be really fun for us just to watch a couple clips here in this video and kind of react to it so the audience can see the same thing that we're seeing. Now, Joseph, I don't want to be light on the details. I want to make sure that I watch everything, and I hope you guys too. So I want to pay close attention to this. If you guys would, let's get our readers on.
Oh,
And
no.
let's prepare for this, because this is going to be good. I promise you that.
let's do indeed. Let's take a look at this, Brian.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Here we go.
Bryan, if you don't mind, if you can cue us up, I think the audience needs to see this because it's really, really cool.
It is very cool. And, you
I
know,
don't think I was ready for Bryan and his readers. I was not prepared.
yeah,
Are those not even readers, Brian?
well, I got my contacts on and I got my real glasses on.
Oh,
so
okay.
I try to look.
Oh, okay.
I can't
Oh,
see very
wow.
well,
Well,
but
Yeah,
I'm gonna do it old school here.
I love it.
that's called overachieving, Joseph.
Is that what it's called?
Oh,
I believe so.
So as I tee this up, I do want to note this. I am Bryan Coppin, right? I manage our field sales team, and this is one of my dear friends and colleagues, John Awesome. And you can tell from the video here. Well, let me go ahead and play it, and we
Wait,
can,
Brian, did you just say John Awesome?
Right.
that is his kind of
Alter ego.
here.
Yeah.
Alias.
If you didn't know, now you know.
Now we know.
So let's go ahead and play this, and we can kind of chat as we go through.
Well, here we are. There we go. Well, here we are again for another episode. First off, I really just want to say thank you to all the positive feedback on the first episode of John Austin Adventures. In that episode, we were actually in Mammoth, and Mammoth's elevation sits right around or just above 11,000 feet. But on this episode, we'll be going to just about 13,000. This is a special episode for me because I'm able to check off something off my bucket list, which is phenomenal. But on top of that, I also have a special guest joining me.
And he
So without further ado,
he said a bucket list. Do we know what else is on his bucket list?
I don't know, but Joe, can we get something a little bit on the shorter scale of the bucket list? Do we have to go 13,000 feet? Does it have to be that?
Go big or go home, I guess.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
sir.
I would listen, at this point, just for his own safety, I would give him a robot vacuum too. Say, just call it a day. You're ahead. Right?
Crack open a Coke.
I know. Please.
Please proceed, Brian.
Yeah.
let's get to it. Let's get on location. Let's go. That's right. On this episode of John Awesome Adventures, it's a very special one, very unique.
Love it.
We are here at Go Jump.
Lord.
Where are we
You know what
jumping
Go
here?
Jump is. You know what we're doing. So let's go. Well, we're getting ready. I have a special guest, the big dog, Bryan Coppin. Big dog in the background. That's what we're going to be getting on. Your John Awesome Adventure. See you up there. Let's go.
Brian, real quick.
Yeah.
You have your contacts in for that one. I'm just curious.
Oh yeah, they were in,
Okay.
real tight. So
I just want to make sure, and it's
background
appropriate
here.
that you pause here because you look very concerned. Does
Very.
anyone else see this white
I-
shoes right here?
He really does. I'm concerned for him. I need some Xanax or something because my anxiety is about to kick in right now. I
I'm
think you know where
telling
we're
you.
going with this.
This is California different indeed. My goodness. Okay.
So just a little background. Like I said, John Austin is one of my good friends, and this was an event done for his 40th birthday that he actually had to push off a year or two because of COVID, but he finally got to it. I was honored to be invited to this event and share this moment with him, which truly was an awesome experience.
I'm sorry. Did you say he pushed off his birthday or you pushed off the event? Because I like
Pushed
to
out
take
of
a
the
few, I'd
plane,
like to
okay?
take a
They had
few
to
years
drag
off
me
my
out of there.
number too.
Also, did I hear you say it was a Johnny Awesome experience? Have you adopted? You were already using the correct language here.
My
Brian.
goodness.
I
approve.
mean, if the shoe fits, you got to use it, right?
Correct.
So let's keep it going, and you can
Speaking
kinda
of
see
pushing
what
off,
we
yeah,
feel.
let's continue.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, welcome to Go. Ocean side, guys. What are we doing today?
Jumping, baby.
Dude, our plane is here, man. You guys excited?
Yeah, let's go.
Excited. Who's the most nervous out of all you guys? There you go, guys. All right, let's do it, guys. Here we go. High fives all around. Yeah.
Can you pause that, Brian? What did he ask you?
He asked who was the most nervous.
You know,
So
he asked for his beneficiary form.
Is that
That's
what
what he asked for. Yeah. Pretty certain.
Wheels up, baby. Wheels up.
wheels up. Let's go. Awesome view.
Oh, it's the countdown.
There it is.
That is what they call in pens. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's like if. So for those who haven't been skydiving before, that's like the biggest rush you're ever going to experience. So it is very
Right, we
nerve-wracking.
take your word for it. I don't, David, Joe, we're not jumping out of the plane. No,
Yeah, I think
absolutely
he's.
not.
feel
I
like
don't know.
he's
At the end of it,
being
you might
himself.
sell me on it.
Yeah.
Brian, listen, I'll
absolutely.
get just as much of a rush if I use a little extra sriracha. I will not be jumping. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh, I love it.
Sriracha is not going to give you that. Sorry.
But Ryan, where are you at in this?
I'm still on the plane cooking my teddy bear, hoping that I don't have to do this.
Billy, could he jump ahead and where you are? I'd like to see that.
Now, the person who's videoing, does he have to jump out with you at the same video, or is he still up in the air kind of gliding?
I think he was gliding. So Brian, we can pause right there. I want you, if you can, maybe queue up to where you're ready to go. But thus far, you know, again, as we take in the reaction from this, and again, I don't want anyone to think that these are the type of events that we're holding, because we're not. But we have, again, as we go, we work with the audience and we find different things. You'll find that our broker partners are in many cases thrill seekers too. You'd be surprised at some of the events that we do. We thought this one would be an appropriate highlight. Obviously, we took the most extreme one. I don't know if we had to do that one next time, but it is fun to watch, and it certainly is. If you know John Austin, I know we're kind of doing a talent highlight reel at this point, but as excited as he was in this video, is as excited as he typically gets about approaching the work that he's able to do with everyone that we serve, which is super cool. And there he was rocking the hat appropriately, right? California different. So it was cool to see that. Brian, I guess in the interest of time, where are you at in this? Did you ever make it out of the plane? I mean, what happened?
You know, I'm not in this video itself, so we're gonna have to do a part 2 maybe, or you guys can reach out to me separately, and I'm more than happy to share.
That was really cool. Listen, thank you for sharing. There definitely has to be a part 2 in that. There definitely has to be a part 2. Well, listen, I've seen all I need to see there. So thank you for that, Mr. Coppin. I know it's interesting, Kristen, as we watched that video and I had a chance to take off my spectacles, I felt as though Brian and team were really trying to hard sell me on getting on a plane and jumping out. And that won't be happening. That won't be happening for this segment.
I already signed you up. We're going next week. Come on.
I'm good. I would rather continue the search for sriracha and scour every nook and cranny of Los Angeles and Riverside County in order to get that. You know what I mean?
Right from the comfort of my chair. Absolutely.
Exactly. You know, there were a lot of allegations.
Sold.
I agree. Just there was a lot of allegations levied in that video that they did too. They looked like they allegedly were having fun. Allegedly, they didn't appear to be scared. I called that. I'd like to see just the outtakes. See, what we saw there was the final produced version, but I'd like to see the outtakes. I think there was a lot of allegations. Speaking of allegations, leads us to our last segment here at Choice Chats. It's been a fun ride.
Wait, I like this segment. This is like the gossip segment, right? This is where we like allegedly happening in the news, in the industry, whatever we want, allegedly.
Correct.
Allegedly.
Well, there's a lot of things happening in the way of technology. You guys know I like reading the news, so I caught myself reading another article. This one actually related to AI, artificial intelligence, more specifically, Chat GPT. Now, no, this is not the story about the kids using artificial intelligence to do their homework. No, although my son came to me with that the other day. I had a course correct him with that. Basically, shut off his Wi-Fi. We're gonna have to go old school, son. We got to do the work. But props to him and credit to him for actually thinking about that, kids these days. In any event, some people are using some form of AI, in some cases, the most popular one being Chat GPT. And others still use like traditional forms for looking up things like Google, right? So here's what they found. And I say that because as we get into the fall season, the cold and flu season, as it typically is, hope everyone stays safe. WebMD is a really popular platform, and I know everyone's used it. I've used it myself.
I used it for years. Yeah.
Right? You still use it, Joe?
I use it occasionally. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes you don't want to read what you find out,
Yeah.
you try to stay away from it, but
Yeah.
your back hurts, your head hurts. Let me do some research. Let me find out what's going on.
Yeah.
At least says you're dying, right? You're freaking
Yeah.
out. and
Yeah, it freaks you
anxiety
out.
attack.
It always becomes very serious, but this is what's interesting. And this is again, allegedly, because Chat GPT is still, being worked through the different stages of validation, things of that nature. But here's what was interesting. So this comes to us from KFF Health News, an article by Mr. Andrew Leonard, and I'll kind of summarize here. They actually followed some ophthalmologists around, right? And I wouldn't say follow, but they actually work with these ophthalmologists. And these ophthalmologists found that their patients began using, instead of or in place of, WebMD, which is sort of the number one go-to for people when they have, inquiries on their health, they started using Chat GPT. And what they found was that ChatGPT was far more accurate, at least for what they were saying here, than what WebMD would produce, which is pretty fascinating. Technology is getting better. Here's what else was interesting there. And again, this is allegedly, right? But based on certain findings, here's what they found. That based on the diagnoses and the symptoms that the patients were actually putting into the artificial intelligence engine, that in many cases, the diagnosis and recommendations for treatment were in alignment with what those ophthalmologists and those offices would have done. And I think that's just fascinating. So we're going to continue to see technology. It plays a big role in everything that we do today. But,
what's going to be fun? Do you guys remember what I'm going to look forward to is the day when we can come back and we can look at the moment when we were just having initial dialogues about what Chat GPT is and what will be the future of artificial intelligence as it relates to our lives personally and professionally. Remember, there was like this interview years and years and years ago when the internet had first launched.
Yeah.
And I recall, it was like Good Day Today or something. And I remember like, have you heard about this thing called email? We're going to look back and it's going to be so embarrassing on the day we're like, you guys remember when we were initially discovering Chat GPT and artificial intelligence? We got to save this clip for the archives. It's going to
It won't be us doing it. It'll probably be AI doing it.
probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, I don't know if the AI is going to drink the Coke or have the sriracha like you and Bryan did, but that's a story for another time. I guess we're going to have to wait to find out. Speaking of waiting to find out, just a quick plug, we're going to be having a broker webinar. If you can believe this, we talked about this earlier in our chat segment. We are in Q4, amazingly enough. So glad to be here. We're definitely in the midst of fourth quarter, but over the course of the next couple of weeks, we'll be making an announcement to our broker community and our broker partners about our January 1st, 2024 rates, benefits, and changes, if you can believe that. Kristen, do you recall the date on that again? It was early October.
October the 11th, I believe.
October the 11th. So guys, stay tuned for that.
AM.
Yeah, AM. We look forward to having you guys. That's a totally different series, and it's totally different venue than Choice Chats is. Obviously, it's a lot more business oriented, certainly a lot more segmented in terms of what we're offering related to the product. So we look forward to doing that. Also, it was plugged earlier. If you haven't had a chance to, we ask for a like, a subscribe, or even a follow. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, which I know Kristen's a really big fan of. LinkedIn, and other platforms. I think we may even be on Twitter/X, however you refer it. But make sure you keep an eye out for that. Now, Joseph, before we leave today, I know not only are you Senior Director of Retention here with the organization, you do an exceptional job. Not only are you part of the PTA, but you are also the king of swag.
You know, I don't know if I'm dubbed the king of swag, but I will tell you this. I do love swag. That is for sure. And I know a lot of you brokers out there love our swag as well. You'll see my colleagues here on the call today. We wear different pieces of swag. There's hats and shirts and duffel bags and sweaters and a lot of cool things. And we have, all the different items available via our web, but we want to give that away today as well. And so I'm going to challenge somebody on the call today right now on our Choice Chats podcast, if you will. Go ahead and submit any recommendations you have for future topics. Anyone or the first person who submits that to us, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Kristen, it is marketing@calchoice.com. Is that
I am going to correct you because you are wrong. In fact, it is marketing@choiceadmin.com. So we are looking for participation from anyone listening in to provide us with topics that you're interested to hear about. So this is your opportunity. Email us, marketing@choiceadmin.com, and the king of swag himself, Joseph Hernandez, will be shipping out some of our Choice Admin swag to those participants.
Maybe if you're local, we can deliver it. Who knows? Maybe we'll grab some lunch or something.
Okay.
Just want to throw that out there.
Overachieving. I like it.
Just throw it out there.
Well, Joseph, listen, I think based on all the content that we covered today, good stuff today. And I want to thank my colleagues on this call. I always have the most fun with you guys, right? I really do.
It is a lot of fun.
But we covered a lot, right? We talked about inflation, inflationary pressures. We talked about CPI index, what that means. We talked about guilty pleasures, the onset of choice administrators and how that was, birthed and later, morphed into the nation's largest, small business health exchange, which is really cool. And we also went skydiving, which that we kind of went all over the
place. Plot twist.
Yeah, but Joe, I think it's time we got to wrap this up.
I think we do. And without the birth of California Choice and going down the timeline of events, how we got here, Choice Chats is definitely a product of that. And so we thank John and Rusty for that as well. On behalf of myself, Joseph Hernandez, Senior Director of Account Management and Retention, and my colleagues on the call today, we want to thank you for participating, spending time with us today. We look forward to spending some more time with you on our next episode of Choice Chats. With that being said, thank you so much for today. We'll see you in the chats.